I gotta tell you this story. When I started at Greek Corner, first I went in there and they had a sign for help wanted, and I was doing cocaine at the time, and I wanted to make some money to do some cocaine. So I went in there and talked to the owner, Dominic, and I'm like, I see you got the help wanted sign. He always had that sign up. That sign never came down, and he took my phone number and my name and goes, "Are you reliable?" And I'm like, "What?" I don't know. We'll just find out. And so I went home. And the next day he calls me. He said, "You want to come in?" I'm trying. He gave me an hours and stuff to work. And they were like long hours because I hadn't worked in a while. So then 2 hours was long hours. Damn fly. Anyway, so I go in and I do my shift. They had this guy, Tommy. He was a little bit of a drunk, but he didn't drink on the job. He didn't drive drunk. I found him in the street a few times and picked him up and brought him home. So I knew who he was. And I don't know if I knew where he worked at the time when I picked him up off the street, but I a person like that, you don't think he even works. So anyway, I found that he works at Greek Corner as a driver. And he worked there like 7 years. And when I walked in there and got the job, Dominic fired Tommy and hired me. And then I was only there like the first day and I found out about that. And I walked into Dominic, into the restaurant, and I'm like, "Look, I'm going to quit unless you hire Tommy back." I'm like, if you don't hire Tommy, I'm out of here. And Tommy got his job back. So I wasn't going to be responsible for him losing his job. So I was doing it for crack money. So I was like, and it wasn't right. So I sacrificed to get again, And they had another guy they hired too, and I think that's contributed to Tommy getting fired. They didn't need him, but I was like, "You gotta hire Tommy back, or you can forget me." So they did. But that's all. I don't know. You don't do the right thing. You get what you give in this life, If you're gonna be a miser and you're not gonna spend, God gives you money so you can spread it around, Like God gives a flower pollen so it can spread the pollen around and everybody shares in the wealth. But if you're going to be a flower that's going to keep that pollen locked in and never let it go and try to get all the pollen you can, man, you're going to be a dead flower. And you're going to be very hungry because you're not going to get, you have to give your money away, You basically have to, if I give $10 away for a tip, I get $10 back somewhere else, and it's like the guy who gives money away, he turns the corner and there's $100 bill laying in the street, and the miser that doesn't give a penny away, he can turn every corner there is in the town and he's never going to find $100 laying in the street. You get what you give. So don't be afraid, I've literally given my last penny away and somehow it came all back to me. And that's the fun part, to see how he gives it to you, Because he comes up with, like I said, the $100 laying in the street, Comes up with all these weird ways of giving it to you. And if you pay attention, you'll see what I'm talking about.